Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Monday, August 17th. Thanks for choosing to be here for the top headlines from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Today is a great day to have a great day. I hope everyone had an incredible weekend. We had a little bit of rain, which was much needed, but we also had some sunshine, so hope you were able to enjoy yourself, get outdoors, and just have a good time. Now let's get you all caught up on everything you need to know about what's impacting you in Northeast Ohio on this Monday. First up, we're talking about a protest that happened over the weekend over a sign outside of an ELYRIA restaurant that people are calling racist. Also, the Democratic National Convention kicks off today, and former Ohio Republican Governor John Kasich will be speaking. We'll let you know what that lineup looks like and what you can expect to see. And we'll tell you what is going on with the US Postal Service. There has been a lot of conversation about the Postal Service this weekend. Also, what Ohio Secretary of State Frank LAROSE said this weekend about absentee voting in Ohio on the Today Show. We'll take a look at the weekend COVID-19 numbers to get you up to speed before we look at those updated numbers that come in this afternoon, and celebrate the fact that Cleveland has another championship. I am talking about UFC heavyweight champ Stipe Miocic. He is back in Ohio. What his first order of business was on getting back to the land, we'll talk about that. And we'll share a fun fact that I learned about Terminal Tower this weekend, which was lit up beautifully. I shared a photo of that on my Twitter and Instagram account, so you can check that out. And we'll talk about what I learned by doing that. First up, we are talking about controversy over a sign at the Dinner Bell Drive-In in ELYRIA. There was a sign that was posted this weekend that said, "Black lives don't matter. All lives matter." And that was posted over the weekend. Now, a protester that 3 News spoke to, a black woman, said that at first the all lives matter was added later. She said that first the sign said black lives don't matter and that all lives matter was added an hour later. She also said that the sign went up after she was treated poorly at the restaurant and called names at the restaurant. Now, the owner's son, Robert Reynolds, who it is not believed was directly involved in that incident with the woman, did say that he was responsible for the sign going up, and he admits that he was responsible for it and now says that he is going to do his best to be the best person he can moving forward. That sign has now also been changed. Now, while there were people protesting the sign, there were also customers there continuing to support the restaurant, but the sign is no longer up that says that. Now the sign is advertising specials. If you'd like to see that, you can see Tiffany Tarpley's reporting on that on 3 News, on WKYC.com, and the WKYC app, so you can see the breakdown of how that conversation went down with both the protester as well as the owner's son of that restaurant. Today, the Democratic National Convention is kicking off. That will be tonight through Thursday with broadcasts from 9 to 11 p.m. It's going to look very different than we've seen in the past. The DNC committee chairman, Tom Perez, will be in Milwaukee, but he'll be about the only one. There will not be many people in Milwaukee this week for the DNC. Republican John Kasich, the former Ohio governor who competed against President Donald Trump for the nomination for the Republican ticket in 2016, will be speaking tonight. He'll be speaking in favor of Democratic presumptive nominee Joe Biden, who will be accepting the nomination formally on Thursday at the DNC. Other people that we expect to hear from today include Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who finished second to Biden in the primary leading up to the DNC. And the headliner tonight will be former First Lady Michelle Obama. Now, remember, it was 4 years ago in Philadelphia at the convention where Michelle Obama coined that famous quote, "When they go low, we go high." So we'll hear from her about what she expects and what she thinks and what's getting her excited about the Biden and Senator Kamala Harris ticket heading into the 2020 presidential election. Later this week, we will hear from former President Bill Clinton as well as former President Barack Obama, and there will be musical performances. That'll include Billie Eilish and Jennifer Hudson, and that will be before we hear from Senator Kamala Harris, the vice presidential presumptive nominee, and then Biden will speak to close things out on Thursday night. So the official stream, which will take place from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., today through Thursday, is at demconvention.com/watch. So if you want to watch the full thing, you can do that there. We will also have a broadcast at 10 p.m. right here on Channel 3. That'll be throughout the week. So you can watch that on Channel 3 at 10 p.m. tonight through Thursday. Now let's talk about what's going on with the post office. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose was on the Today Show on this weekend, and he's telling voters that they need to send their absentee ballot requests and ballots in right away. Today, Monday, August 17th, we are 78 days away from the election, just over 11 weeks. And the Ohio Secretary of State's office has told me that Ohio is expecting double the number of absentee ballots to be sent in, double the number of voting by mail this year. Typically, they tell me, in a presidential election year, Ohioans send in about 20 to 25% of their ballots by mail. So they're expecting up to half of all ballots to be sent in Ohio by mail. Now, Ohio was one of 46 states to get a letter from the US Postal Service warning about potential delays and concerns that absentee ballots might not get back to county boards of elections on time by state deadlines in order to be counted. So these concerns are tied to state deadlines, but they're also tied to changes that are being made by the newly appointed Postmaster General Louis DeJoy. So let's talk about that first. DeJoy was appointed in May, and since then, as he has been directed to try to make the Postal Service more profitable, he has cut overtime. He has cut what are called late delivery trips and other things that ensure that a mail arrives on time to its destination. And this has resulted in a noticeable, observable slowdown of mail. Many people are reporting slowdown of the mail. This includes lots of things, from just your regular, average, everyday letter to prescriptions that are being received by mail and lots of things like that. So on Thursday, President Donald Trump specifically acknowledged that without more money, it will be harder to process the large number of vote-by-mail ballots this year. The Postal Service is hoping for a $10 billion infusion from Congress. Now, this is something that had been talked about, tied to that second stimulus act that Congress has not yet been able to agree on. Right now, Congress is on summer recess. So Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi has actually called the House back from summer recess to try to pass a bill to stop the changes that DeJoy has put in place until after the election. This will be called the Delivering for America Act, and that vote is expected on Saturday, but the catch here is that the Senate is also on recess. They would have to be called back if something does pass in order to vote on something in order to stop these changes from going into effect. So that's what's going on in terms of the changes that DeJoy has made. Now, let's talk about the state deadlines. There are some states that require, according to the post office, just not enough time between their final deadlines for being able to request an absentee ballot to when those ballots are required to be received in order to be counted in the election. Here in Ohio, Secretary of State Frank LaRose did confirm this on the Today Show. The deadline in Ohio is you have to send your absentee ballot, postmark it by November 2nd, the day before the election. Now, in Ohio, that can be received up to 10 days after the election, so by November 13th in order to be counted. That's not the case in every single state. Pennsylvania actually recently had to go to the courts to ask for a change and allow days after the election for ballots to be received as long as they're postmarked by the day of the election. So the situation in Ohio is not the situation across the country. So that's why this is such an issue of concern. And the post office is saying, look, we just can't meet these deadlines. They're just not feasible turnaround deadlines for processing of the mail. So different states that have these issues with these deadlines can definitely take a look at that and change their deadlines for when things need to be received in order to be counted. But as I said previously, from a legal perspective, this might be the year that we don't know the winner of the election on November 3rd because, for example, if half of the votes are coming in Ohio and they don't have to be there until November 13th, it's highly possible that we simply won't have the votes in order to know who the winner is by November 3rd. Here's what you need to know here in Ohio. The deadline to register to vote in Ohio is October 5th. If you are already registered and you have that taken care of, you will automatically be sent an absentee ballot application around Labor Day. Those will go out. So if you're registered soon, you might still be able to get in order to get an absentee ballot request form sent to you. That has to be filled in and sent back to your county board of elections for you to get an absentee ballot. So it's a two-step process. You have to send in a request form, then you're mailed the ballot, then you send in the ballot here in Ohio. And we do have the option here in Ohio. There is a drop box at every single county board of elections. So you can drop off your absentee ballot in person at a county board of elections without having to vote in person. And of course, you do always have the option to vote in person on November 3rd on Election Day. So that is getting you up to speed with what's going on with the Postal Service. It's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. That is the latest as of right now. All right, let's get you caught up now with the COVID-19 numbers from over the weekend. Over the weekend, from Thursday to Sunday, because I was out on Friday, so we're going back to Thursday to get you caught up, there have been a total of 3,041 newly reported cases of COVID-19 here in the state of Ohio. That brings our total number of cases right now to 108,287. And there have been a total of 71 COVID-19 deaths reported in the state of Ohio from Thursday through Sunday. That brings the total number of deaths to now 3,826. As of yesterday, there are 910 people hospitalized, and 334 of those people are in the ICU. We'll bring you those updated numbers from the Ohio Department of Health this afternoon once we get those out. Now it's time to celebrate that we have another championship here in Ohio. Stipe Miocic is the undisputed heavyweight champ of the UFC. He won UFC 252 in his fight on Saturday against Daniel Cormier, and he posted yesterday on Instagram a picture with his little girl, 2-year-old Mila Claire, talking about his first order of business once he got back here to the land. Here's what he wrote. He said, "What a night. Nothing but thanks, love, and respect to my team, my family, and my fans. It's truly an honor to put on a show for you. Now, back in the land to face my toughest opponent yet. This one was for you, baby girl," dedicating the win to his daughter, Mila Claire, in a cute video of the two of them playing around in the house. Stipe and Cormier went the full 5 rounds before Stipe was declared the winner. It was a close, but it was a unanimous decision for Stipe. This is their third fight for the title. Previously, they had split the wins with 2 knockout victories, but they went the full 5 rounds on Saturday. And Miocic is now the 6-1 all-time winner in UFC title fights. So he's won 6 of those title fights, lost that one to Cormier. Cormier says that was his last fight, by the way, but you know how these fighters are. They retire and come out of retirement all the time. So we'll see how that stacks up in real life. Now I want to share a fun fact with you that I learned about the Terminal Tower over the weekend. So this weekend, it was lit up pink. This was in honor of the Susan G. Komen More Than Pink Walk, which is an effort to bring the greater community together and raise funds for breast cancer research. It was absolutely beautiful. I snapped a photo of it from downtown, and I shared that on Twitter and Instagram, and I wrote, "It's like our own version of the Empire State Building." I lived in New York for a while, and that's a comparison that I often think of when I look at the Terminal Tower, and it's so beautiful. It's one of my favorite parts about living downtown. Well, I got a reply on Twitter from Vinny Cox, and he said, actually, the Empire State Building is New York's version of Terminal Tower. So I thought, okay, I'm going to look into this, looked up some facts. Here's what I found out. Terminal Tower was constructed in 1927. So they started working on it in 1926. It was finished in 1927. And at that time, it was the tallest building in the world outside of New York City. And that stood until 1967 when other taller buildings were put up. Well, here's what I found out about the Empire State Building. Construction began on the Empire State Building on March 17th, 1930. And then it was officially opened in May of 1931. So Terminal Tower was here first. So yes, the Empire State Building is New York's version of Terminal Tower. Vinny Cox, that was the right take. Thank you for giving me a reason to look that up. That's it for your 3 News Now early edition for Monday, August 17th. I'll be back here at 3 p.m. with more of your top headlines from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. I will see you shortly. I'm Stephanie Haney.